Hey guys, welcome back to wemetatacme. I'm so excited to be here with the guy that everyone is always seeing on his page, Davide. Hi.
Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Good. It's nice to see you in person and not in
Yeah.
your car.
Sometimes I get out.
Uh-huh.
I did drive here, so the office is parked outside. But
Uh-huh. I love it. So before we get into anything, what is your favorite romantic gesture for someone to do for you?
wow, at this point, from a man's perspective, any romantic gesture would do. And what I mean by that is men are, generally speaking, because we have to speak in generalities, otherwise we can never have a conversation. But generally speaking, men are more romantic in that we are the doers of the romantic gestures, and the women are the recipients of the romantic gestures. Generally speaking. So honestly, anytime I have a partner and she so much as reaches out for my hand or says, "Hey, there's something I really want to do, something I really want to show you, someplace I really want to take you." All of this is completely welcome and exciting, and I think it's rare because men are usually the ones that are expected to do the doing when it comes to the romance. And I'll just give you one example that really comes to mind. So I've always been much of like a letter writer
Hmm.
ever since I was a little kid. I mean, even in like grade school, I'd pass the note to the girl that I liked or put it in their locker. I've always been a letter writer, and I've only once dated a woman who wrote me letters. And the first time I got a letter from a girl was from her, and the last time. And I swear I almost wanted to cry because it was so amazing to be the recipient of something that I so frequently did. So yeah, I would say just about any gesture, but getting a letter from a girl is special.
That's really sweet. So you like words of affirmation.
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, I'm always tricked by the love language discussion. I never know if it's quite what you want to receive or want to give, but
Mm.
I'm definitely a giver of words of affirmation. Um,
But it sounds like you like to receive
And I
them.
like to receive it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I do like to receive words of affirmation.
But are we talking
Certainly.
like random letters or letters when there's an anniversary, a birthday?
So, both. In her particular case, she wrote me that first letter was for my birthday.
Hmm.
It was a card, really, but I considered it a letter because she wrote something. And after that, she would still, at random, leave little notes or what I consider to be letters, even if they're short. Um, And that just always really spoke to me. I mean, I literally wrote a book called "The Letters I Never Sent."
Yeah.
I'm that obsessed with letters or
Hmm.
the writing of words to and from each other. Um, and I think it's an art and a romantic gesture that is a bit lost now in
Totally.
the era of texting
Mm.
and being so available. I think that it's still nice to receive a letter, especially obviously if you're living in the same place. Maybe you're going to hand it to each other, but getting it in the mail is really special.
Oh, that's like next level.
Who doesn't
It's
love to
so
get an envelope?
exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm in the era where it's really just thank you notes for the kids' birthday gifts.
Yeah.
But even those excite me. I'm like,
Certainly.
oh,
Yeah.
or, from a wedding gift, whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the only letters that I'm receiving
I
nowadays.
love it. I love getting a letter, which I almost never do. Um, but I like to give them as well because I know that it's exciting
Hmm.
to open up your mailbox and see not a bill, not something that you're just going to immediately throw away, but oh my goodness, someone wrote me a letter. And I think more people should do it.
Yeah, we should bring it back.
Yeah,
We should bring it back.
for
So
sure.
when is your birthday? And do you go by Davi as a nickname?
Um,
Or is
Some
just
friends call me Davi, but really that name was just I threw it out there when I
yeah.
first made my TikTok. But my name is Davide,
Okay.
and for the most part, people have always tried, even in the U.S., to say it. Maybe they'll Americanize the accent a little bit. Maybe it's like Davide. Like when I was growing up in school, it was like Monday, Tuesday, Davide.
Okay,
But it's Davide. Yeah,
Davide. Did
yeah,
I say it right?
yeah. No, it's perfect. It's
Okay.
perfect.
So when is your birthday? I'm so curious.
September 17.
I knew you were a September guy.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, not sure what any of that means, other than that. That's what I am. Yeah.
Okay, so backing up a little, when we first were chatting,
Yeah,
you were telling me about your background. You were saying that your dad is from Jersey City.
that's right.
Your mom is from Italy.
Yes. So
Uh,
my father is born in Jersey City, but the child of Italian immigrants.
Okay.
Whereas my mother is from Italy, and they met here when she was just visiting some family that she had in New Jersey. And my father happened to be friends with some of the boys in that family, and they would hang out a lot together. And they met while she was just here visiting, and 8 months later they're married. So
It's really
they
cute.
moved very quickly.
And he convinced her to live here.
No, in fact, he did something very odd, particularly for the time. It's still odd today, even in the era of remote working. People now are more likely to move out of the U.S. to other countries, but especially at the time in 1980, Americans weren't moving to Italy. If anything, Italians were still moving to the U.S. So no, he always loved the idea of Italy, and then it just kind of worked out that he met my mother, and he was very enthusiastic about trying Italy, and in fact, he did. And that's why both my brother and I spent the first years of our lives in Italy. We came back to the U.S. when I was about 7. So
can you speak fluent Italian?
yeah, it's my first language, literally. When I came here, I had to do ESL, which didn't last very long, because when you're a kid, you pick up languages quickly.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Is your brother older or younger?
Older. Yeah.
And what's his situation? Is he in a relationship?
He's married. He has 4 kids.
Wow.
Which takes all the pressure off of me.
Totally. Thank God for him.
Yeah. The older brother laid the way so that I can, go on TikTok and Instagram and joke around in my car. But,
totally. So let's talk about how you kind of got started with this. So you're a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a lawyer.
And when did you decide to kind of, and I don't even know if you're doing this full time now, but
no. So the truth is, I mean, if you followed me close enough, then maybe some people who have followed me since the beginning will know that it's essentially brand new. I mean, I was on TikTok around the end of March, so it's been about 6-7 months at most, and then Instagram is like middle of July, so it's 2-3 months. It's happening very quickly, and it's all very, very fast. I haven't quit my job. I'm naturally a conservative, careful person. I don't take risks like that usually.
Virgo energy.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is exactly how I became a lawyer in the first place. I was a literature student in college. I had no idea what to do, and it was pretty much just like, oh, being a lawyer seems like a decent enough job, and so I've been doing that for, I don't know, almost 14 years now. Ever since I was 13 years. When I got out of law school. And I never thought I would find another way, though I always secretly wanted one. I always wanted to write, and I guess now I have. I just never thought anybody would read it. But I didn't know how I was going to get out of this profession. And then I just kind of stumbled upon social media because, again, see, it's always a woman's merit. So I was dating a girl who has always worked in the social media world. She's a business coach online. And one day, knowing my situation and how much I wasn't an aggrieved lawyer, as most are, she said, why don't you just try TikTok? And I said, well, at the time I was 37. Yeah, I'm 38 years old, by the way. At the time I was 37. And I said, this is crazy. I'm going to go on TikTok. What am I going to do? And she said, I don't know, just talk about something that interests you, just be yourself, pretend you're talking to your friends on a FaceTime. So I tried that, and within 2 weeks or so, very quickly, it just hit, and it went viral, and now here we are.
It's crazy because there's such a surplus of women doing something similar, but there's just such a small amount of normal men.
Speaking, I hope I'm normal. Yeah.
Speaking and making sense on TikTok and Instagram, that I'm not surprised that you were able to, blow up so quickly.
Yeah.
Because you're just saying things that are, for the most part, rational and relatable thoughts that everyone has. But we never hear men saying them. We always hear red pill men or men saying scary shit that we're like, oh my God, I can't believe that came out of that guy's mouth.
Yeah.
I just watched one of your videos and you were talking about women are always like, oh, I want to date older. And then they date older and they find out, the problem.
Right.
Do you consider yourself an older guy, when dating?
I think I have to. I have no choice, even if I feel young. But at the end of the day, I am 38. I mean, by life expectancy, I'm middle aged, which is insane to me to consider myself in the early end of middle age. Um, Obviously, times have changed dramatically. I mean, what it means to be in your 30s now is very different than my father, and previous generations. But yeah, in the dating world, I suppose I am, still on the early end, but an older man, especially if I'm dating someone much younger, which I don't really aim to do. I don't really aim to date that much at all. I don't particularly like to date. I don't try very hard to date. It just kind of happens. I prefer to just meet someone organically and take it from there. I'm not on dating apps. I don't really try to date.
What do you feel like your roadblocks are that kind of led you
Mm.
to, not finding your person just yet?
Well, I've had serious relationships, so I've had my versions of a person. I think in large part I'm also a product of my times, which is to say that if you just look at the statistics, whether it be the divorce statistics or how many people are not getting married at all, we're going to be the first generation. I predict, I could be wrong, but I think it seems that way. We're going to be the first generation where more people are single when they're seniors than are married, whether it be because they never got married at all or because they're divorced. And so I think that we are the generation where you find your people, and maybe not always necessarily your person, and you have different relationships during the course of your life. Obviously, I'm not setting out to do that. That's not my hope. I would love to be married and have children, and I think that there's still a chance for that. I'm
Yeah.
not that old. Um, but I think it's also okay if that doesn't happen. And I think that more than ever, we are okay with that, in large part because we have company. It's going to be perhaps even the norm to be single and dating and meeting people and having a girlfriend when you're 65, having a companion. Um, it, at least that's what the statistic seems to suggest, because with 50 or so percent divorce rates, and then the large number of millennials who aren't marrying at all and younger, it just seems to be that that'll be normal.
But you want it.
But notwithstanding that may end up being normal, I still want it. And I think most people want it, even within this new norm, which is why, of course, the dating economy is so full. I mean, people are trying to date, and dating apps
Right.
and dating coaches. It's still fundamentally something people are interested in, no matter how much the times are changing, which I guess suggests that there's something in us that desires that kind of intimacy.
Definitely. Why aren't you on dating apps then?
I don't know. The whole thing is stressful. It's overwhelming, and I think that inherently they're designed to keep you on the app. I mean, otherwise they would lose business, right? Just from a purely business standpoint.
Even though all of their taglines are designed to be deleted?
100%. Because I think at the end of the day, it's creating this marketplace of dating, really, where people are commodities, and you're swiping around and you're looking at what looks better or what seems better. And there's there's the perpetual illusion of infinite choices. And I personally think that the more you date, the less likely you are to find your person. Because if you think about it, again, just strictly mathematically speaking, assuming you're going to marry one person, if you date 10 people, 9 dates won't work out. If you date 100 people, 99 dates don't work out. So the more you date, the more you're dating people that aren't your person.
Yeah, but doesn't that help you weed out the people that it's not going to work with? I mean, I'm sure you've heard a million times dating is a numbers game.
Yeah.
You only need it to work with one, right?
I agree. No, I agree, and it seems counterintuitive that dating less would lead to less success in dating. But again, I look back at previous generations, and obviously there were a million other factors involved. But if you look at previous generations, you married one of the 13 girls in your village. You married one of
And you were together forever.
and you were because you weren't just overwhelmed with the idea that there is something else. And with dating apps, that idea becomes reality because there's literally someone else just one swipe away. So, I don't know. I think that we are in a bind. I think we're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It is a numbers game, and dating helps you figure out what you like and don't like. But at the same time, I think it also makes it difficult simultaneously, it makes it more difficult.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, what I'm seeing, and I wonder if you agree, is, sometimes I work with men for matchmaking, and I'm seeing that men want a woman who's everything, kind of. They want a CEO who's like such a boss, comes from an amazing family, also plays sports and like is super active,
Yeah.
kind of like everything, right? Women get a lot of shit, but we kind of only want one thing for the most part, which is like an ambitious, successful person.
Yeah.
A lot of the women, I'm talking about are like in their 30s and
Right.
feeling ambitious and successful themselves. So like they feel like they want that. And I feel like women get all the shit for being like, oh, you just want a guy who's successful or whatever. But men want a woman who's everything is what I'm getting the read on. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I guess I never separated it between men and women. I've been getting the sense that generally speaking, people expect way more from their partner than ever before, and I do think that's a mistake. We used to have much more of a community, like even just growing up, and at times now, perhaps it seems a bit backwards, or it was the wrong way to be, but. Like the men would be sitting out in front of the buildings amongst each other playing cards, and the women would be somewhere else doing something else amongst each other. And now there's this expectation that we do everything together. You're my best friend. You're my lover. You're my partner. You're my business partner.
My
you're my confidant. You're my therapist. And that just was never the case. There was almost like this. There was this reconnection at the dining table, at the dinner table at night.
Yeah.
But during the day, you were living completely different lives. And also there were no cell phones, so you weren't text messaging each other all day. And I think that there was this separation of roles that now doesn't exist. And you're right. And I do think it's a problem. And I never quite pinpointed men as having that issue more, but that may very well be true. Because women do tend to have closer friendships, and women do tend to go to therapy more.
Right.
And women do tend to just do other things that men don't always do. Like me and my friends, we joke around about it. Me and my guy friends, we always joke around how we hardly ever see each other, and we look at it as a positive, like, oh, look at us, we're able to remain friends, notwithstanding the fact that we talk once every 6 months. Whereas I think, again, always generally speaking, if women don't talk within 6 months, they're gonna have a confrontation about this.
Oh, for sure.
Men don't have confrontations about their friendships.
No, of course not.
It's just, this is what it is, and it's fine,
Yeah.
and it's good enough.
Yeah, of course. I mean, my husband will go meet his friends for dinner, and they'll all be 30 minutes late, and he'll be texting me like, oh, they're so late, they're late again, they're late again, and they show up and he's like, what's up, bro? Like, man, like it's only to me that
So
it's
true.
never,
So true.
they don't give a shit.
When I had a girlfriend, I was complaining to her about my friends, but never to my friends.
Yeah, of course.
That's just the way it is. So yeah, I don't know how we got there, but the point is, yes, I agree that men need to have other people in their lives filling roles, so that there isn't this belief. And I think it stems a little bit from the soulmate culture too. This belief that you're going to find a person that is everything for you and perfect for you. And of course, women fall into this trap too. But that person doesn't exist.
Do you think that your parents having the I'm assuming, great relationship that they do puts pressure on you to find something like that. And I'm also curious how
Yeah.
your brother met his partner.
Oh, that's interesting. So the first thing, my parents have a stable relationship. I mean, whether it's great or not is subjective. They've had their ups and downs like everyone. But ultimately, my parents, being a very religious people, um, also find that center and that helps people stay together. It's funny. I've had this conversation with friends so many times. People will often say about religious people, like, "Oh, well, of course they're not getting divorced. They're religious," as if that's like an aha, like a got you moment.
Mm.
Whereas the reality is, yeah, actually, that's exactly right. So, in other words, for thousands of years, or for centuries at the very least, um, marriage was steeped in religion, and that it was a sacred bond, right?
Yeah.
And sacred meaning that it was also, you could not dissolve this bond. And I think that inevitably, with all the good that came with modern marriage and modern relationships, also the reality is that as soon as you make something dissolvable, it can and will dissolve. And so, in a way, when you find that religious couples are more likely to stay together, it's not necessarily because they're entrapped, but it's because they share a particular value that forces them, in a way, to work things out.
Right, which can be an amazing blessing,
Right.
but can also,
Certainly.
be a curse if,
100%.
God forbid, there was a legitimate reason someone should not be
Exactly.
in the
Exactly.
situation.
No, 100%.
But I
100%.
totally hear
Yeah.
you, and that, I mean, that goes to the idea that we were talking about of having too many options.
Yeah.
If you have the option to leave, if you have the option to swipe, you're gonna take these options because
Yeah.
that's, we're humans. We like our optionality.
100%. In fact, every time I'm in a relationship, what I am most aware of is the precarious position I hold in this person's life. Like, I'm always aware that at any moment they could leave me. My dream is to be in a relationship where I can feel fully secure that this person has 100% chosen me.
Oh, but I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think that you should feel 90% secure.
Oh, 90%? Okay.
Because
I'll take
you
90.
need that 10%.
Yeah.
You need that knowing that that person could leave you. Otherwise, you're not going to act right.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. No, certainly there needs to be some motivation, some incentive to act right. I mean, I would hope that I would want to act right out of a sense of love.
Totally. But I also think, and I think what you said about the religion and marriage is really interesting.
Yeah.
But I also think that there is something to be said about knowing that you could dissolve something, knowing you can walk away and choosing to stay. I almost think that's more powerful than knowing that God would hate you if you stay.
No, that's true. That's true. And I see that point. And I tend to agree.
It's like, that's sexy.
Yeah, no, there is a beauty and a romance to knowing that this person doesn't have to stay with me, but they choose to be with me. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that is in overall how I would define love, in the sense that I don't think love is something that is earned. I don't think it's something that you deserve. I don't think that people love you because of what you do for them or can do for them. I think ultimately it is something that is freely given. And so in that sense, to connect to your point, I would agree that the freedom within a relationship is in part the romance of the relationship. The fact that they could leave and they choose not to for no reason other than the fact that they want to be with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. By the way, your hair is wonderful.
Is it? Well, listen, we're gonna start doing some shampoo commercials.
I think you should. I think that's your ticket out of law, if you wanted it to be. If you could speak to your younger self entering your first serious relationship, what would you tell yourself?
Wow. I would say what an aunt of mine in Italy said to me, that I've always shared with my friends, but I learned it a little too late. She told it to me in my early 20s, and I didn't apply it. But what I would say to people is, there's a difference between being interesting and being loved. And I think that connects also to what we just spoke about, that we try so hard to deserve someone's love, to be cool enough to be loved by them, to be sexy so that they'll love us, to dress well so that they'll love us. All these things that we try to do, we try to be interesting to attract someone. And my aunt always said to me, be careful about trying too hard to get somebody to love you, because there's a difference between being interesting and being loved. When somebody loves you, they're going to love you no matter how uninteresting you are.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a mistake that younger people make, older people make. I certainly made it. I probably still do. It's human to try to attract someone, but I found ultimately that doesn't really lead to any kind of success. At the end of the day, someone is just gonna love you for no reason, and that's it.
I like that. I've also heard similar, but a little different, like stop trying to be interesting and be interested.
That's another good
Like
point.
in what someone has to say. But
that goes a long way.
yeah, but it's funny because actually when I was first dating my husband, he would make these comments kind of like, and I didn't know if he was being self-deprecating or if he was like actually trying to tell me a fact about him. And he would be like, I'm not like I'm a nerd. Like I have nothing, like I'm not interested. Kind of like that. And I would be like, yeah, you are. Like, I love you. You're great, whatever. But like I think not that he's not interesting, but I think that like managed my expectations for moments in which he is not interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Managing expectations is so critical.
You got to do it.
People, especially in dating, I think that people put their best foot forward early on, but sometimes it's not even their authentic best foot. Sometimes it is, in fact, a charade. People are behaving the way they think people want them to be. And how is that sustainable? I mean, eventually you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's best, I think, what your husband did. Husband, right?
Yeah.
What your husband did was, I don't know if it was intentional, but it was the best approach, which is, listen, this is who I am. I'm not always going to be that fun or that interesting or that cool. And what do you think? Do you like this?
Yeah, totally. You come off like a gentleman online and in person so far. Do you think that your mom had an influence on that, or who was the biggest influence to you?
First of all, I'm sure I've had my moments. You're probably going to get some hate comments saying, I went out with Davide in 2016. He was a terrible person.
Do.
No, but I hope that I try my best. Who influenced me? I want to assume that it was my parents. I don't remember any particular moment where they were teaching me something, but I imagine we're a product of our families, so I'm sure that I got my sense of respectfulness from my parents. Sometimes it being a gentleman or being a respectful person, it has nothing to do with dating. It's just how you are in life. And so maybe I do remember a phrase my father would say to us. My father was very strict growing up, and he would always say, before we were going somewhere, something along the lines of, it was in Italian, make sure you keep both feet in one shoe. Which is to say, don't do too much. Don't act crazy. So I think growing up, I was always taught to be respectful and quiet, not to make too much noise, not to make a mess. And I think that translates into other aspects of your life, like dating. So again, my point is, I don't remember them saying anything particularly about dating, treat a girl right, or do this or that. But I think it was just a general principle of respectability and respect. And I think that just translates, hopefully, in friendship and in dating and in everything.
Definitely. Oh, let's go back to your brother and his wife. Yeah. How did they meet?
They met on a dating app.
Oddly enough. So did they tell you you're ridiculous and you need to get on dating apps?
They've asked me. They've asked me to try, and I've considered it, and I've had, of course, my moments. I haven't been on there in years, but I did give it a try at times.
But what if you just do it with an eye of someone who is not like obsessed with the options, and you do it with like let me take some time on this person's profile. Oh, they seem, whatever. Okay, let me take some time on someone else's like, you don't have to be so, swipe this left, whatever, like
No,
you
I hear
can
you.
you can set your own pace for it.
No,
You can be
sure.
like, I'm going to just go through 10 girls this week and then 10 girls the next week.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe pace yourself, do it that way. Yeah, like I have a tendency, and it obviously hasn't served me well. And this, I mean, at least if you look at success, meaning being married, but I've always had a tendency to just like what I like as soon as I see it. I the only women that have ever become girlfriends, my serious relationships, I knew that I wanted to date them immediately. So that makes dating particularly hard for me because I have the tendency then, if I date too much, to be a serial first dater. Because I already know. I don't give people a chance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If I like you on the first date. Yeah, if I like you on the first date.
But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being a serial first dater?
No, nothing. But then I just don't want to be on dates all the time.
Yeah, but you will until you have that first date that you want a second.
Yeah. No, you're right. We'll give it a second thought.
Yeah.
Give it a second thought.
Give it a second.
I prefer matchmaking, traditional matchmaking. If someone says, "Hey, I have a friend or a cousin or something,"
okay, maybe I'll set you up.
Let's go. Let's see what happens.
How do you differentiate between love bombing and genuine interest and intention early on? This is a woman asking.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't think you're gonna like this answer because it's not helpful, but I really think that the distinction is revealed with time.
It's the follow through, I think.
Yeah.
It's the consistency.
You only find out later if it was love bombing.
Like, you can't call someone a love bomber after 2 years of dating them.
Exactly. Like my father, for example, by all metrics, my father love bombed my mother. I mean, they moved to Italy after 4 months, and he left the country. He was 18 years old. He was just out of high school, and they got married. But they got married and they stayed together. So I think that the same conduct, the identical conduct and the identical words can be love bombing or genuine depending on where you end up.
Yeah.
And so that, of course, is not helpful because it just means that you're just going to have to find out. But that's the risk that comes with dating. I mean, it's a dangerous game we play. I mean, we're trusting people.
It's true. And also, your mom had every right to be like, whoa, slow down, buddy.
Yeah.
And so does this woman asking this question.
100%.
Like, you're allowed to be like, whoa, chill. Like, I need some time, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whatever feels right to you. You don't have to like get swept up in a love bomb. Like, you can pace it if you want to.
That's right. Yeah. The recipient of whatever that is, whether it be love bombing or something more genuine, obviously also has some autonomy here. They can slow it down. They can establish some boundaries. So yeah, I think that ultimately, like you said too, I think that it's revealed in time.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it doesn't take you too long to discover, but you need to kind of go through it to discover whether or not it's genuine.
Yeah. But do you think that love bombing exists, or do you think that it's simply just someone who actually was really into you and then changed their mind?
I'd say both. I think there are definitely people that are capable of being really into someone genuinely and changing their mind. You know, the spectrum of humanity is wide, and then there's also people that are actually intentionally trying to entrap people for the purpose of having a little fun and then discarding them. But I like to believe that intentional approach, that malicious approach, is really rare.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, people are genuine and then genuinely get bored.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think people mean...
I feel like, I imagine a lot of love bomminess is in order to have sex. And then maybe you have sex and you're like, all right. Meh.
Yeah. Or any form of possession. In other words, like I think that love bombing, when it is in fact love bombing, comes from an insecurity. I mean, you feel that in order to obtain this person, you need to do a lot. You need to overextend yourself. You need to make big promises. Otherwise, no one's going to love me. No one's going to be with me. No one's going to be intimate with me. So I think that inherent to a love bomber's nature is an insecurity that causes them to do more than they need to do because they feel they have to.
Yeah, to do the most.
Yeah, do the most.
What is something where, what is your biggest hope for how people love and date differently in this next decade to come?
Wow. I don't know. I would love for people to return to a more organic dating style. I know that you want me to get on dating apps very badly, but um and I think that people will. I think that there's already a bit of a reversion taking place. I think dating apps really peaked during uh COVID
Mm-hmm.
and the shutdowns and all that, and obviously they'll still be around and they'll always flourish, but I think people should talk to each other more in person. So that's what I would like to see more of. Less chit chatting on text message and going back to the phone being a tool that you use to make plans. So you can text once in a while, of course, something more than that. But I would love to text just to say, all right, so Thursday at 8. And then, okay, great. And then on Thursday morning, I text again to say, just confirming, we're on tonight. And then you meet the same way, like when phones first started out, you call to make your plans, then you went there and you hoped they showed up, and there was no way to. I just want people to. I want people to date in person.
I hear you about dating in person, but the phone thing, we can't go back.
Yeah.
So it's like now, if we were dating and we were 4 dates in, and you were still only texting me to be like, "See you on Thursday," I'd be like, "This is not progressing."
Yeah,
You're thinking about me and not texting me. Your dad was thinking about your mom, but he couldn't text her.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I feel like in that way, we should be communicating as much as we're thinking about each other, at least.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, an occasional, hey, I'm thinking about you, and then move along.
No, like talk about Dancing with the Stars the night before. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're allowed to just shoot the shit
No,
with
I
someone
agree,
you're dating.
but as you said, like my father, for example, when he was thinking about my mother or vice versa, they had to wait to see each other to have that conversation, right? I think that in part, who knows? I mean, again, I'm theorizing as I go. I haven't thought this through, but in part, it could be that the failure or success of relationships nowadays is correlated to the fact that we over communicate. In other words, we get bored of each other faster because we've had a year's worth of conversation in 1979 in a month. And so maybe we need to slow down communication and stretch it out to the way we used to be able to communicate. But as you said, it's kind of hard to go back. I mean, Pandora's box has been opened. The cat's out of the bag. How do we go back? But again, you're asking me my dream scenario for how we'll date in the future. And hopefully, I don't know, we'll put like phones will have like a time limit system on it where they close up on you so after a while, just to facilitate more human interaction.
That's not a bad idea. Like I'm supportive of that.
We'll start an app, make a lot of money.
Yeah. What is one romantic belief that you held when you were younger that you no longer believe in today?
I would definitely say the soulmate theory. The idea that there's one person specifically designed from the beginning of time to be made for you. I strongly believed when I was younger. I've always been very romantic in that way, and I still am now, but I think I'm more practical and open to the possibility that the person for you is someone that you can build with, as opposed to someone's just going to arrive into your life and they're perfect for you and everything's going to be great because they're your soulmate. I don't think I know that I don't hold on to that belief anymore, and then now I believe that a romantic relationship is something that's constructed.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. And also, if you believe in the soulmate theory, then like how does divorce and remarriage happen,
Yeah.
And I think there's multiple soulmates, not in a way that like you should go find someone else if you're with someone, but more like you shouldn't lose hope if there's not like, if God forbid your person passes away, like
Exactly.
you'll find something special.
I agree.
What about okay? I always hear women say, "I went out on a date. He didn't ask me any questions." What do you think about men like that? Do you have them in your life as friends? Would you know?
I don't know if I would know how my friends date. The friends I have, we're very conversational. We talk about everything. Um, we send each other long emails. Many of those emails, in fact, became the letters I never sent that I transformed into this book. They were actually these conversations I've had over the years with my friends. But so how they date, I don't know. How they speak to me is very pleasant and very engaging. But I am aware of that problem, though. Just anecdotally and talking to girls and having friends, girlfriends. Men, in large part, don't ask a lot of questions. Are not conversationalists the way women are. But even to that, I'll say again, just again to throw a little grace again at those who are that way. Sometimes it's not for lack of interest. Sometimes it's lack of conversational skills.
Yeah.
And you can be a good man and a terrible conversationalist. You can be a great partner, and again, to go back to what we spoke about earlier, and just not be that interesting, right? Being interesting is not necessary to being a wonderful husband. You could be a very boring man and a great husband, right? So maybe this man is just boring. Again, like the love bombing thing, you kind of have to go through it to determine, are they boring? Are they quiet? Are they shy? Or are they not interested in me and just trying to get something from me? I need some water. And unfortunately, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell from the first date.
Yeah.
But I would say, yes, men should be cognizant of the fact that they're not asking enough questions and try. Maybe prepare some questions. Write something down. Ask ChatGPT. What does an interesting man ask a girl on a date? It's
Chatty's there for you
that's
guys.
what it's there for.
Wolf, do we think they're gonna make noise outside? Should we say something? Okay. Okay, cool. I kind of like that perspective. I feel like I have this theory that when you date, there's two people in the relationship, and one person has an edge, and the other person wants to date someone who has an edge. And so if you are the person, let's say you're the woman in the situation and you're the one who has the edge and you're going out with a guy and he doesn't, he wants someone who has an edge, then maybe it's a challenge for you to be the question person. You know what I mean? Like maybe one person just has to step it up. And I know it's not ideal because you want the man to be super interested in you, but maybe you're throwing the questions and like you're being like, okay, now ask me, you know?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of let's answer the question both ways.
Right.
So if someone asks an interesting question, I mean, it's a conversation starter, really. I mean, both parties should then engage that question. So maybe a woman won't get as many questions as she would like, but at the end of the day, she's hoping for conversation and for interest. So if she has to be the one to ask the initial questions just to engage this man who perhaps just isn't that good of a conversationalist, I think it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
But like we said, at the end of the day, the intention, the genuineness will only be revealed with time. So you kind of have to just go through it.
Do you think that if you're a guy who goes out with a girl and she's like to her friends, he didn't ask me anything, and then you text her being like, that was really nice, I'd love to take you out again, would you want her to be like, you didn't ask me anything? Or would you want her to just be like, yeah, sure, or no?
I think so. I think it would be in everyone's best interest because, and I know you'll most likely agree with this. I've heard women say this all the time. I think it's hilarious. I haven't done a video on it yet. I probably should. How frequently women go on a date and the guy thinks the date was amazing.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, no, it was terrible. Yeah, it was amazing because one, she's super cool, she's fun, she's interesting. And it was amazing because she's fun to hang out with and she asks a lot of questions and she's engaging. But you were just the recipient of that and she got nothing.
Right.
So to tie in both things the last two things we've been discussing. So I think it would be useful for men to be more aware if you're interested, not just to like slap him over the head. Like if you're planning to never see him again, I don't think he needs to be necessarily instructed.
Right.
But if you did like him for whatever other reasons, and you felt that he was lacking in some other ways, like in the conversational aspect or the questions, I think it's prudent to say, I had a wonderful time. I do want to see you again, but just so I would love if you asked me some more questions, because I felt like I mainly asked the questions. I think in that case it's useful if you're not planning to see him again
Yeah,
anyway.
and that's a cute kind of way to say it. And like, if I were the guy and I wanted to impress that woman or make her laugh, at least I would show up with like a full book of
Yeah,
questions the next
yeah,
time we went out.
absolutely. And also, as you notice, I didn't intend. I mean, I just said that now. I didn't think of this. I didn't think this through. But it's also helpful that you first gave the man a little honey in
Mm.
that request. Like
Yeah, you sandwich.
yeah, you said, "Hey, I had a really great time. I want to see you again." But
Ask me questions, and I hope to see you again. Okay, bye.
exactly, because at the end of the day, we're little dogs. We
It's
just
a
want a little
compliment
validation.
sandwich. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to do it. Do you think men care if women are unemployed or in between careers when dating?
I don't know. I would say, again, as usual, it depends on the man. Um, I personally don't have any issue with it. Um, Obviously, I would hope that they have some ambitions or some interests or something that they're pursuing. But I've been I've been in relationships where my girlfriend, lost their job, or was in between jobs. It happens. I mean, it's a part of life. So, but I also understand that there's other people that really want somebody super ambitious, super successful. I personally don't care. I just want to be with somebody that is good for me
Mm-hmm.
and loves me, and there's a million other ways to contribute to a relationship that I don't necessarily need them to have the greatest job in the world.
Yeah.
It's not important to me.
Do men tend to agree with your content?
Hmm. I don't know, because I don't hear from them very much. They're very quiet, but they're there. I know that they're watching. Um, Typically, the comments from men, which are rare, are positive. Occasionally, someone will say something negative, but as a general matter, and I don't want to jinx myself, I was always told the internet was a very scary place, and as my ex, who told me to try TikTok, said, like, she always described me as chronically offline, like I was just like not an online person, not a social media person. So I didn't know. So I went into this thinking, oh, I wonder if it is so bad. In my case, I don't get a lot of hate. I really don't.
What's the most controversial video that you have that like did get, I don't know, 3 hate comments or whatever?
I can't think off the top of my head, because I make so many videos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, where did I ever get hate? I think the most likely and frequent form of hate is the comment from a guy that'll be something along the lines of, "Oh, he's pandering to women.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here he is being a simp," or whatever.
Sure.
That's really the extent of it. It never goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the women listening who are interested in sliding into your DMs, and I wonder how that goes for you, I want to ask.
Yeah.
What are your deal breakers?
So to that point, this is partly why I probably will never need a dating app ever again, because the DMs are inundated with messages from girls, most of which are usually just like, "Oh, this was so funny, thank you so much," and other times, they do flat out ask me out, which is so strange to me.
Have you gone out with anyone from DM?
No, 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 no.
Why?
I don't know. I'm pacing myself. I'm pacing myself. And a part of me also is, I'm fortunate that this happened to me when I'm old. Maybe when I was 27, 28, I would be going crazy in the DMs, right?
Right.
But right now, it's almost like my immediate thought is, would this girl have wanted to meet me 5 months ago?
Right.
And I know, like, how do you even know,
No,
right?
that's smart.
But I don't, I know, and I'm not, it's not like I'm an actual celebrity of some sort, but clearly you've reached out to me because now you know I exist, because there are these millions of people that know I exist. But would you have been interested in me? Would you have been interested in me 5 months ago? Like, and sometimes, if it's like a model or something, I'm not trying to be modest, But I do believe that she probably would not have been interested 5 months ago.
I think that
So
that's a really smart, down to earth, like
yeah.
normal,
So
humbling perspective to have. Because also, you don't want someone who is only interested because you're, talking to girls on the internet.
yeah. I mean, it's not for me. I'm not particularly interested in that. So, but if someone seems nice, which again I don't know how I would know, but if someone seems nice and genuine in some way, and I just instinctually think that they're nice, I'll consider going out with them. Also, I just disclaimer, I don't even open up like 99% of these because there's just so many, and I just don't have the time to sift through
So
them.
then,
But
what's the best way to meet you for someone listening?
to actually meet me, oh man, I don't know.
Where are you hanging
You'll
out?
have to catch me out and about, I guess.
Out in Jersey City?
The problem with that is that me and my friends, again, you would think that we're from 1979, but me and my friends literally hang out at diners. This is not a joke. This
Diners
is
are
real.
great. Yeah.
We actually we almost never go to a bar or a lounge. When we hang out, it's to have a conversation, and we tend to go to our local diners. There's a handful that we choose from that we we go from one to another depending on the location or where we are. And we just sit down and have a cup of coffee or whatever, and we have a conversation. But, where can people meet me? Probably the DMs are your best bet in terms of access to me, because I don't think you're gonna. The chances of randomly seeing me outside are probably slim.
Unless you're at the diner.
Unless you're at the diner, unless you go to all the diners in New Jersey. There are thousands of them. It's gonna take you a while. Eventually, maybe you'll run into me.
Well, I'm going to convince you to come to our next mixer.
You do mixers?
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
Have you ever been to a mixer?
No, as you might have guessed.
Yeah. We have a mixer next week. So by the time this comes out, it'll already have happened.
Okay.
But it's did you ever watch Sex and the City?
And when I had a girlfriend, I was at times forced to see moments, but I never saw the whole thing.
Yeah. So Charlotte, one of the characters, throws this used date party where the point is to bring someone that it didn't work out with who might be good for someone else.
Way.
So essentially, if I convince you to attend, which I will not let out on, you're definitely coming.
I'm definitely
you
coming.
would bring someone who you think would be great for someone else, but wasn't for you.
Interesting.
And in turn, a girl brings another guy, like a guy brings the girl, and
I'll see if I can get somebody to come.
well, you should bring the girl your ex who put you on to the internet.
That's good.
If she's still available.
Yeah, I can ask her.
She sounds like an altruistic person.
Yeah, she's a lovely person.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Is the love letter girl from like middle school or whatever, is she the one that got away?
The one that wrote letters?
The one, yes, that wrote you a letter.
The one that wrote me a letter was also the most recent ex. So you love this girl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We all love this girl.
You love this girl.
I love this girl. She's wonderful. Yeah, no, she's always going to be very important to me because she wrote me letters and also helped me get on TikTok. So,
well, why didn't it work out?
We just always had our issues. It's hard to say. There were always just moments of uncertainty and doubt, particularly from her end. She was at times just not sure that I was the person for her.
Okay, say no more.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. We do these poll questions on our Instagram. By the way, why don't you follow anyone?
Oh, okay. So that was not intentional. But then after a while, it just became fun for me to not follow. And I think it really matches the personality of the guy in the car, which is a part of me, but it's obviously not entirely me. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that he's a character I'm playing. He's just one of my identities.
Sure.
Which is super nonchalant, super don't want to be here, very exhausted, very offline, and like I'm just here because you guys want me here.
Yeah,
and
just in the car at the red light.
So I'm not following anyone.
Do you have another Instagram where you follow your friends?
No.
Wow,
that's it. That's the one.
Okay. On dating apps, do you reply to? Well, you're not on dating apps, but if you were, would you reply to an initial message that only says hi?
No, I hate the highs and the hays.
I know, me too.
What am I supposed to do with that? It's like you're engaging me, but then I have to do all the work.
Yeah, it's annoying. So, do you think you'd be a good dancer on Dancing with the Stars?
I'd be above average, but not necessarily good.
Okay. Do you believe in the taxi cab theory for men?
Oh, can you tell me about this?
That their light is either on or off, you know? Like you have to find a man whose taxi light is on, like they're ready.
Oh, on in terms of being ready to be in a relationship.
Yeah, like if you meet them when their light's off, it's not going to work.
I don't know about that one. I think that again, this might be the romantic in me, but I
Mhm.
think that it becomes the right time sometimes when you meet the right person.
I always say this, ladies, I
Yeah.
hope you're listening. Does it ruin the mood for you when someone leaves their socks on during sex?
Not a sock person.
So, yes.
Yes, we don't like socks.
Guys wearing nail polish, like it, indifferent, absolutely not.
Certainly not for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Certainly not for me.
You're texting a guy on a dating app and they message you saying, no pressure, but I've been enjoying talking to you and here's my number. Do you make a joke about only giving your number to guys who ask you out or just text him?
I'd go with the joke.
Yeah,
Why not?
agreed.
Let's.
After a date, you're texting and making conversation, but she decides she doesn't want to go out with you again. Should she reply but not ask questions back or anti-ghost you immediately?
I'm not a fan of ghosting.
No, anti-ghost, meaning like give a reason that you're saying goodbye.
Oh wait, could you repeat the question again? I may have misunderstood.
Yeah,
then.
so basically you want more dates with someone. They
Okay.
don't.
They don't. Okay.
Should they keep responding just like one word? Or should they be like, oh, like Davide, it's so good to go out with you, but no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I love the explanation. Doesn't have to be long, but just letting me know that it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You went on 6 dates with someone in the span of 1.5 months and you break things off because they were emotionally unavailable. Now your friend is interested in them. Would you mind or think it was weird if your friend pursued it?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of friends dating the same people. Even if it didn't work out and even if it wasn't a serious relationship. That's just my own personal code of ethic. A Jersey City thing, I guess maybe.
How many samples is appropriate when you're at an ice cream shop? 1, 2, 3, or more?
As a general matter, I've never seen a man ask for samples, which again just shows the difference in the genders. Uh, women sometimes ask for way too many samples at the ice cream shop, and it does bother me. So I'm gonna say 2. Sometimes it gets a little crazy.
No, I agree.
And
I agree.
it is it's a little bit of a pet peeve.
If you called someone an Uber home, does that mean you like them or you're trying to get them out of your place?
Oh wow, it could go either way. I guess in my particular case, I tend to drive people home. So if I'm sending you an Uber, you can be sure that I probably wanted you to get out of here. Because I prefer to always drive someone home, especially if I'm dating them.
Because you got to make a video after.
Got to make a
in the
video
car.
after.
Yeah.
You put the music on. It's part of the date. The drive is a big part of the date. Put the music on.
Yeah, you got to do it. Before the first date, the guy brings up the fact that he lives an hour away and suggests meeting in the middle for the first date. Normal behavior, or is that doomed because he should be going to her?
It could be normal, but again, in my particular case, I have moved heaven and earth to meet a girl that I liked. I mean, so driving an hour is not the end of the world, especially if you're intending to be in a relationship anyway. If this is a problem, you can't meet in the middle forever. So
I agree. The meeting in the middle is like, it signifies that our whole relationship has to be 50-50 and it's never going to be.
Yeah, no, it can't be. Someone has to always do a little bit more work. In these very literal cases, if we live an hour apart and you're intending to be with me, someone's going to be doing the traveling.
Yeah.
More often than not. So
and this stuff's going to ebb and flow, you know?
that's it. Yeah.
This has been so much fun. Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice, something that has helped you throughout the years?
A quote or a piece of advice? Oh, wow.
Could be like,
I'm going to overthink this, as I tend to do.
do you know your rising and moon sign?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But I'm definitely an overthinker. I mean,
Yeah,
which
of
is which
course.
leads to the
Mhm.
guy in the car. Um, I don't have a quote for you. Something to live by. Everybody's trying their best.
That's
It's
good.
it's 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 um it's hard to be a person.
Hmm.
That's something my ex used to say to me. Another quote that I love. I'm gonna quote my ex. She said it's really hard to be a person, and she would say that in the sense of let's give each other grace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Sounds like there might be some unfinished business. Can you can you
I'm
let us
quoting her. I'm telling you that she started my career. No.
You're rereading her love letters. Can you let us know where to find you and slide into your DMs, although you will never read them?
If you want to find the realist me, you really should get the book because it's the most unscripted and deepest version of me. It's literally the letters I never sent. I literally published my journal. So if you want to know if you want to know who I am and how I think and how the videos came to be, you should get the book. It's the letters I never sent. But how you can find me physically and not how to find my soul, because that's where my soul is. Physically, you have to come to the mixer that I'm going to be coming
Yes.
to.
And if you missed it by this time, come to the next one because I'm gonna be
I'm going to be at the
forcing
mixer. Other than that, keep sliding in my DMs. And if you're not a model, I might respond.
it. Models, you're screwed. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so awesome.
It was fun. Wait, can I get a Starburst?
Yeah, I was actually just gonna offer you one. What's your
You saved the best ones, pink.
Well, this is all the pinks.
You saved all the good ones?